Hey everybody, my name is Tim, welcome back to the channel, and if you're a regular here, you might be like, huh? What's going on? A Unreal tutorial? Like, I thought we were doing Houdini tutorials here. You're right, this is my first Unreal tutorial here. I started getting into Unreal Engine, actually making my own game now. So from now on, also going to be doing the occasional Unreal tutorial. This tutorial is about creating a accurate millisecond timer in Unreal, which might seem like something very simple. It is actually not too hard, but there's a lot of tutorials out there that create, well, they show you how to do one for seconds and minutes, and for seconds and minutes is not too bad, but if you try to implement that for milliseconds, it's highly inaccurate. Like if you try it with an actual stopwatch next to you, it's not at all accurate. It just slows down your game performance. It's not great. I'm going to show you how most tutorials do it, and I'm going to show you how I do it, and this will actually produce a accurate millisecond timer, which is also influenced by time dilation. I'm going to show you how to do both a level timer as well as a global timer, stuff like that, because this was something like I tried to make one and a lot of the stuff that I saw was just convoluted. So here I am doing one about how to make an accurate timer. Hopefully it's interesting. If you want the source files, they are available with the link in the description for Patreon supporters, or you can get them on Gumroad. It helps out the channel. So if you want to get them, you can get them there. But everything will be explained, of course, in the tutorial. So you can also just follow along. So without further ado, let's actually get into the tutorial. Alright, so we're here inside an empty third-person template, and let's talk about how to make a timer. So this is just a default template. You can just walk around. So it's the UE5 template. In UE4, this looks a little bit different, but aside from that, everything is the same, even if you're on UE4. Let's make a timer. So let's go into our third person here, blueprint, open up the BP, so the character blueprint. And I'm first going to show you the wrong way that I see this explained in a ton of tutorials. I'm relatively new to Unreal myself. Normally I'm more of a visual effects artist, but I wanted to start making games, so I'm making a game. So been a lot of learning, but like the way that a lot of tutorials are making a timer is absolutely not accurate. I actually tried it, and I'm going to show you the wrong way first, with an actual real world stopwatch next to me, and it doesn't match. And I wanted a super accurate millisecond timer, so that was not gonna work because it wasn't working. So let me show you the wrong way first, and you can quickly see how it's gonna be delaying really quick. Right, so let's do an event begin play. This is gonna start when the when the event begins, and let's make it delay. So the delay is essentially perform a latent action with a delay specified in seconds. So it's going to wait a little bit, then do the action, and then, yeah, whatever. So essentially now it will execute after 0.2 seconds. So let's say I just put it to 1. So it's going to wait a second, then do a thing. So let's just make a variable, call it timer. Let's make it a float. And we're going to grab it out. We're going to say, all right, after a second, we're going to set our timer. And what do we want to do? We want to grab this, so control, and then drag it out. We want to grab the existing value of the timer, which again, it starts at 0. If I compile, we can see where you can put what you wanted to start at here, but let's start it at 0 because it makes the most sense. And we're going to drag from here, we're going to do plus, and we're going to add something to it. So we want to add 1 second. So the similar to the thing there. I want to add it to there. And then let's print this out. Print string, and we're going to put it in here, and then we want to print out our value. All right, so let's compile. And this is still not going to work because now it's only going to do it once. If I press play, you can see it does 1, and then that's it. We want, of course, this to repeat. So let's do a add event. So add a custom event. So, and let's call this repeat timer, for example. So let's put a repeat timer in here. So once this is finished, we want to repeat it. So we're going to put here, repeat timer. So essentially it's going to, on event begin play, it's going to do the delay thing. It's going to add to this. It's going to print a string, and then it's going to execute the repeat timer event. It's going to go in here, and it's going to do the whole thing over and over again. So if we press play, you can see, beep, beep. And this is still somewhat accurate. Like, let me just try to grab a stopwatch. I'm gonna do it. I don't think this will be behind too much. I'm just gonna try it real quick. but it gets worse when you start adding milliseconds in the loop. And you know what? Before I actually do this, let's actually make a UI element, because it's really hard to show you here the printed text. Let's first make a little UI element so we can actually see what we're doing while I'm recording this, because actually you guys have to see it. So yeah, let's make like a user interface element. So let's press Ctrl space to open this thing. Let's make a blueprint folder here. Blueprints, we're gonna put more stuff in here anyway. Let's make a UI folder. UI, all right, and in here, let's right click. Let's go to user interface and add a widget blueprint and call this, let's call this BP underscore my UI. All right, so let's go in there. All right, let's just maybe dock it here so we can actually have a thing. Let's first do a canvas. Actually, I don't know why it doesn't do the canvas by default for me, but because every video I see it adds the canvas by default. Doesn't for me. Anyway, let's do a text. Let's do a text box. I'll call it, just put it, let's put it here. Let's make it big so you guys can actually see it. Where's the size again? Beep, beep, beep. Color and appearance, font. All right, let's do something like this. Let's anchor it to the top left. Beautiful. So let's actually maybe go back to our third person character and let's actually add this. So let's say, all right, we want on the event begin play, we want to create this. So we create widget. And we want to, which one do we want to create? We want to create my UI. So it's the one that we made here. And we want to add it to the viewport. So let's do add viewport. All right. So we're going to add this to the viewport. Like that. All right. Wow. Amazing. All right. So now let's link up the inaccurate timer to our text box. So we can actually, then I can actually show you how inaccurate it is. So let's go back to our UI and let's grab our text here. And let's create a binding here. So create binding. So the thing with this, what I got from it is essentially this is creating a sort of a tick event, which in this case we want because we wanted to start updating every millisecond. But the way I'm going to show you might not be ideal if you're, for example, just have a health bar that's going to only decrease every now and then. So the way I'm doing it here might not be ideal in every scenario because we're gonna do it essentially every tick event. Tick events are heavy on your computer, so you might not want to do this like that everywhere. But in this case, it doesn't really matter because we want it to update every tick event because we want to be accurate. So we first want to cast to our character. So BP underscore third person character. So again, that's why you always name stuff BP underscores, easy to find. Then get player pawn. I'm gonna plug this in. So this is gonna say that already wanna get something or do something with our third person character, and then we wanna get something from here. So we're gonna extract something from here. So let me see what we call it again. We called it timer. All right, easy enough. So let's get timer. And let's plug it in there. All right. And now if you press play, we're going to have our timer big enough so you guys can actually see it. All right. So with that out of the way, let's go back in here. And now I'm going to actually do the start the thing and see how inaccurate it is if I put it on my real world stopwatch compared to this. And then we're going to try it with milliseconds. All right, so 45 seconds in, and at the moment it's actually still not too inaccurate. You can see here. So this is still. So this is not too bad. But let's try this with milliseconds, and you're gonna see the problem. So I'm gonna put the delay here. Let's put it to 0.01 and add 0.01. So now this is gonna. Well, do this every 1/100th of a second. And the problem here is going to be that this might be faster than the delta time. And this is really gonna screw things up. So let's just have a let's just try it out. So I'm gonna try it with my stopwatch again, and then you can see the problem. All right, so we're a couple seconds in. Oh, and I started recording, and you can actually see it slow down because it cannot handle it. It wasn't doing that when I wasn't recording. But you can see it really slows down, and my actual real world time here is 20, well, almost 30 seconds, and we're at, well, it's not looking good. So you can see the problem with this technique. So that's why we're gonna do it a completely different way. So yeah, let's discuss how we can actually make this work. All right, so now you understand why this is not the way to go. If you want to make an actual proper timer, like with this delay in the repeat, can be good to sort of as a replacement for an event tick, but in this case, not necessarily. All right, so let's just get rid of all this stuff that we have here. So there's a couple of things that we can do to actually make a sort of an accurate. By the way, let's say this, add UI element. There's a couple of things that we can do to get more accurate time. So it's actually a game time. So this one is actually accurate. So you can use this one. This is not what we're going to be using, but this one will actually produce accurate result. So this will just output a float value in second. We're going to do it slightly different to make the timer a little bit more controllable. Because in case you want to start it, stop it, do stuff like that. So we're actually going to use a timeline. So they might think, all right, that's weird, but let's add a timeline. Let's go and call it timer. My timer. Right, there we go. Didn't like the timer, but it does like the my timer. All right, let's go in here. Let's make a track. Let's make a flow track. Let's actually make this just a really long length. So like 99999. Just like probably your level won't run longer than this. If it does, just keep adding nines until you're satisfied with how long it is. All right, we're gonna make a keyframe here. Put it to 0. We're gonna make a second keyframe. Gonna put it to whatever value we have there, and we're also gonna the time to there and then to there. So essentially now we just have a linear value going up, and this will actually be an accurate value. So this will actually already produce a sort of a good result. If we actually, for example, say set timer, actually do it like this, and now just press play. Right, you can already see we get a pretty good level time here. So this actually already is a lot better. So you can actually already use this. We're gonna do some more stuff to this, but this is already accurate. You can put the stopwatch next to this. This will already be a decent timer. There's a couple of things here that we can get rid of this event. There's a couple of things here that we might want to do. Let's say we want to start and stop our event, or let's show you another thing. Let's say keyboard 1. So if we're gonna keyboard 1, let's say we wanna, if we reset our level, so get level name, get current level name, and then open level. Do it like that. And open level. So if we're gonna press 1 on the keyboard now, it's gonna open up the level. So if I do it like this, right? So you can see timer working. If we press 1, you can see it actually resets, which might be what you want, or it might not be what you want. So depending on if this is what you want or not what you want, we're gonna show you some things, because we want both a global timer and we want a level timer. So if you want stuff to stay persistent between levels, we can actually not do it inside of our third-person character. We need to do it in our game instance. So if you don't want a game instance, essentially if your game runs, it runs in your game instance, and that has also the persistent stuff from your with your game. So we can actually make one. Go to blueprints, right click, and blueprint class, and call game instance, and there we go. So call it select bp underscore my game instance. Right, so that's a game instance. Now we need to set this as our active game instance. So we need to go to edit project settings, and let's go to game instance, and we need to change it from this thing to this game instance. So now we're actually using this game instance instead of the default one. So now that means we can actually do stuff in here. So let's go in here. And essentially, this is just a blueprint. You can add stuff in here. Let's make a global time. So let's make say GI score global time. Put it to float. By the way, we're gonna be going over how to split this stuff out to minutes and seconds and milliseconds in a little bit. But let's just first focus on this global timer. So just so we wrap up the default thing here. That's also another thing, by the way, that I saw in a lot of other tutorials. A lot of other tutorials will actually already start splitting out things to minutes and seconds and then store them individually. And you don't want to do that because it's going to be really hard if you're going to have global. If you're going to have global time to add the seconds, the milliseconds individually, you're going to need to account for, all right, if I'm going to add them up, like if my seconds total to whatever, I need to start also add one to the minutes, etc., etc. So it's going to get difficult if you just keep it in seconds, like we do here. It's just seconds and milliseconds. If you can just add that up and it will always work. Anyway, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be casting to our pp underscore my game instance. We're going to do some stuff for the game instance. Let's go get game instance. We're gonna grab our active game instance. So again, that's that one. And then we want to get the global time. Global time. All right. And then we want to, oh, by the way, we might not actually want to do this here. Want to maybe do this over here because we only want to set our global time only once, right? So let's on pressed, let's cast to game instance, right? Get the global time there. And then we want to add something to it. We want to add control and drag. We want to add our regular time and we want to set, set GI global time, right? Let's move this over a little bit. And we want to set it with this value. So now we will store a global time as well. So this will be persistent between level reloads. So let's make a keyboard. Let's make it P or something. And if we're gonna press P, we want to print something. And what do we want to print? We want to probably call, let's grab the cast to game instance. We want to get our global time. I want to add it in there. Compile. So if we're going to press P, we're going to get our global time. So let's try this out. So here, we have a timer. Works fine. If we reload the level, for some reason. Oh, wait, I didn't have it hooked up anymore. All right, so let's try it again. So let's play I am playing. Reset the level. Oh no, it's at whatever again. If I press B, you can see it still stores the global time. If I reset it again, it's gonna add to the global time. So you can have a sort of a global time. So this the text on screen is our total time. If I do this, you can see it's our total time. So you can see how game instance here can be super useful to sort of do do different types of timing. With this timer, you can stop it, you can start it again. So let's do a keyboard S. Keyboard, where are you? Keyboard to do the S. Where's the S? Where's the S? All right, there we go. So with this timer, we can say, all right, stop it. And if I now want to stop it, I press S and you can see our timer stops. If I press S again, it's not going to start again. So we need to do some more work in order to have that actually work. So I could maybe do is make a variable, call it stop, make it a Boolean. And let's set stop. So if it's, so we're going to set it to stop. Actually, we want to branch out from this thing. So let's do a branch. So condition get stop. So if stop is true, then we want to turn off stop and start it. And if it false, we want to stop it. Or then we want to play and want to stop it. All right, let's try it out. Stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. So this is essentially just setting the stop boolean, and if it's already stopped, then it's gonna play again, and if it's not stopped, it's gonna set it to stop, and it's actually stopped. Yeah, we can do the timers. You could hook this up to certain events. Oh, S might not be the best keyboard shortcut because it's also walking backwards. So let's maybe do another one, keyboard C or something. All right, that might make a little bit more sense. All right, so you can see. All right, super cool. Okay, so we're gonna get back to maybe some more stuff here in a little bit, but let's first also learn how we can sort of split this out into individual things. Maybe we want to actually, so let's put this to create timer. And this is just other stuff. So I guess do it like that. All right. So yeah, let's actually learn how we can sort of split this out and then put it into actual individual seconds, minutes, etc., etc. So this is actually pretty straightforward, but let's go into this thing that we have here. Let's move this up, and we want to grab our timer here, which we already did. Instead of just outputting this to text, so from here we are actually going to split this up. So first we're gonna divide this. I'm gonna divide it by. Oh, we're not gonna do modulo. Sorry. We're gonna divide it by 60. So if we're gonna divide our time by 60, that's gonna give us minutes. So that's pretty straightforward. So this is gonna be our minutes. Now we're actually gonna do the modulo. So we don't know what a modulus, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. So this is essentially gonna take an input, and then it's gonna, so if it's get to a certain number, so if I put it to 60, for example, it's essentially gonna start over again. So if it gets to 60, it's essentially gonna loop back on itself and then start counting again. So it's gonna take the input, get to 60. So if I put it to 5, it's gonna after 5, it's gonna go back on itself and just repeat. So so that's why this timer that we have here. So to first put it to seconds and then split it out later, it's gonna be a lot easier than if you're gonna split this out already in the third person character and then start saving it out as seconds, because it's just gonna be a lot more confusing. So if you do it like this, it's just gonna be easy to work like that essentially. So to get the milliseconds, what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna actually first multiply this. So multiply, gonna multiply by 1000, and then I'm going to do the modulo again. I'm gonna modulo it every 1000. And now we actually want to convert this into an integer. So to integer or truncate, I think it's called here. So it's truncate. So we're gonna make this into integers. So we have a bunch of nice little integers. Now we want to, all right, let's do it like this, to text. I want to say integer to text for all of these things. And we want to put in a drop-down menu. So the minimum integral digits that we want and the maximum integral digits that we want. So for this one, we want 3, because we want it to basically be up to 1000 and then start again, which is what we did here. I guess you could make it more accurate, but this is good enough for our timer. Then with this thing, we only want 2, because I mean, up until 59, and then it's gonna restart. And minutes, I guess, depending on how long you think people are gonna play your game. Let's make it 2 as well. So that's gonna be 0, 0, 0 minutes, 0, 1 minutes. Same with the seconds. All right. So now we wanna concatenate these strings together. So if you type concat, it's gonna, well, essentially, okay, it's called append here. Normally I use a lot of Houdini, so if in Houdini you concatenate strings together, which essentially what here they call it append. But if you type concat, it will know what you want to do. So we can create a couple of more pins if you want here. So first we're gonna put in the minutes. We're gonna type a divider here. You're gonna put in the seconds. We're gonna type a divider there. Then we're gonna put in the milliseconds. And there we go. And then this thing will go into the return value. There we go. And now if we press play, we should have, there you go. We have a very nice looking timer going up. And it should be accurate, which we can demo. I'll leave it running for a little bit. Well, I'll restart it with my actual stopwatch. I'll leave it running for like 2 minutes, and then let's see how accurate it actually is. So let's say we want this. So this is actually working. Let's say we also want our total time to be added to this. So let's say we could say, do another thing, say cost to pp game instance, my game instance. All right, there we go. Boop. Get game instance. Let's plug it in. Boop. I want to say get gi global time. And so before we do any of this, let's just add this in here. So the good thing here is because we were working with seconds, before we split anything out before, now we can actually just add these together and it will make sense. If you split this out before, you start writing out seconds individually, etc., etc., it's just gonna get really complicated. But if we do it like this, and press play. All right, so now let's reset. And you can see, let's wait for it 10 and then reset. You can see it will, and you can see it, for some reason it does briefly look a little bit weird, but you can see it will now just continue even if the game resets. So a whole bunch of things you can do. And of course you could do a separate, timer for the global time, but I think this should have given you a good idea on how to make all of this work. So another cool thing about this, by the way, let's give this a good name first. I call it set global time, is that actually this timer is also influenced by time dilation. So you could, if you don't know what time dilation is, let me do keyboard 1. Keyboard 1. All right, there we go. So let's say set time dilation. And so, we already have keyboard 1 in use. So let's do keyboard 2. It's gonna set time dilation. Maybe we want to do this as a variable. So let's promote time dilation. And let's first set it. Set time dilation. And let's plug it in here. Let's put it to 0.1 and plug it in there. And let's do keyboard 3 to set it back to regular time. All right, here we go. So if you didn't know how to do time dilation, this is how you do it. So if you press 2 now, you can see my game slows down. Actually, my timer also slows down. If I press 3 again, game is normal again. Of course, if you don't want that and you want your timer to just act normal, there's other ways to do that, and you're gonna need to add some extra variables and stuff. But again, this tutorial is already starting to get long enough as it is. So you would, in that case, you would kind of need to create an extra variable. So we have this timer here. You couldn't just divide this by the time dilation because then it wouldn't be accurate. So you would need to make an intermediate variable, etc., etc. But I guess if you want to try that out, it's going to be a fun experiment. But I hopefully this will already have given you sort of a good idea on how to actually make a proper timer inside of Unreal. So as with anything, proof is in the pudding. So I am gonna be doing my thing here. Whoa, when I'm gonna do the timer here. All right, let me put it here in the corner. All right. So I'm gonna start the timer. I'm gonna try to do it at the exact same time. Then I'm gonna press play, and I'm gonna wait for a minute and then see how accurate it is compared to this thing. Of course, I cannot completely time it correctly, but it should be more or less fine. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Off to the races. There we go. Yeah, so let's wait a minute and then let's see if it's still performant. Right, well, almost 1 minute in, and you can see it's still on point. And my game timer has more milliseconds than my iPhone timer, so that's good. So yeah, proof is in the pudding, I guess. So if you want the source files, again, they're on my Patreon for Patreon supporters, and they're also going to be on my Gumroad if you just want to buy them. So if you want to support the channel, you can do that there. If you want to learn more about Unreal Engine, I'm going to be from now on, I'm going to be making more Unreal Engine tutorials because I'm developing my own game now. So I'm running into a lot of these types of things where essentially I'm learning a lot of new stuff. And this was one of the things that I just wanted a better timer. And like all of the tutorials that are out there about this stuff are not great. But this one does work well. So if I run into more stuff, I'm probably going to do more tutorials. So if you want to see more, subscribe. If you want to learn about Houdini and stuff like that, which is going to be interesting. Also in combination with Houdini Engine, which I'm sure I'm also going to be making tutorials about. You can subscribe and leave this a like if you actually like the video. Helps out the channel a lot. So thanks for watching. Again, you can get the source files with the link in the description. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace.